Hey everybody, I wanted to do a video about commands because commands can be kind of tricky. So I'm using as you can see, the 4.2 PowerPoint as a basis for this video. Commands are telling people to do things. So you can only command people you're talking to. For example, I can't command yo. I can't command ellos. I can't command ella. I only can command people I'm talking to. So the only people we talk to are tú, usted, and ustedes. Okay? They're going to tell you that you can also command nosotros. That's kind of like saying, let's do this thing. I don't know if I consider that fully a command, but so we'll break them up. When we talk about formal commands, that just means usted and ustedes. So if you were looking in the eyeballs of one person whom you treat formally, usted, or any group that you are talking to. So let's say you're talking to your friends and you go, hey friends, listen. Hello sir, look. You can't just conjugate the verb how you normally would in the present tense because you don't want to look at the president and go, President reads. You don't want to inform him that he reads, you want to tell him, no, read. And the way that you express that is, for formal commands, you put the verb in the subjunctive. And again, what the subjunctive means is you're swapping your endings, basically. So I'm going to put e's where a's used to be, and then a's where e's or i's used to be. So I'm conjugating it for whoever I'm talking to, but in the subjunctive. We're going to see that most commands are in the subjunctive. So the short answer is, how do I make a command? Put the verb in the subjunctive for who you're talking to. That doesn't go for two commands. Two commands are weird. For two commands, it's different when you tell them to do it and you tell them not to do it. With formal commands, it doesn't matter if you're telling them to do it or telling them not to do it. See? Tome, no tome. Vuelva, no vuelva. But with two commands, it does make a difference. When it's negative, it's actually easier. Negative two commands are just like these. They're the subjunctive for who you're talking to. So you'd say, no viajes, no empieces, no pidas. So negative two commands make sense. They're in the subjunctive for tú. Just make sure you put a no in front of it. Where the weird part comes in is affirmative two commands. So looking your friend in the eyeballs and saying, hey, talk, listen, go, watch. For most of them, what you do is you don't use the subjunctive. You conjugate the verb in the infinitive, not the infinitive, in the indicative, but not for tú, for él, ella, usted. So let's consider this verb, viajar. You may be thinking, why can't I just look at my friend and go, hey friend, viajas? After all, that's the conjugation that goes with tú. But if I look my friend in the eyeballs and say, hey, viajas, I'm telling my friend that he travels. I'm going, oh, you travel. I don't want to tell him that he travels. I want to tell him, hey, travel. So what you do for the affirmative two commands is you conjugate it in the indicative, not the subjunctive, for él, ella, usted. Notice the jump when you go between affirmative and negative. There are 8 irregulars that are for the affirmative two commands. And you can see what these are. Di, as, ve, pon, sal, se, ten, ven. Those are the irregulars. In their negative form, they would go back to using the subjunctive for tú. We're never going to see this. This is vosotros commands. Look how weird they are. If I were in Spain telling a group of people to dance, I would say bailad, comed, hablad. So you can see that look how strange these will look. Fortunately, we would just use ustedes instead of vosotros. For nosotros commands, again, this is kind of iffy if you really consider these commands. It's kind of the equivalence of saying, like, let's go, let's look, let's listen, let's dance. It's easy. You just put it you put the verb in the subjunctive form of nosotros. So if I said bailemos, I'm saying, like, let's dance. Or this is more like it, bebamos, let's drink. Or no bebamos, let's not drink. So that's what you do for commands. Essentially, for most of them, you just put it in the subjunctive for who you're talking to. Now, if you have a pronoun with a command, such as a reflexive pronoun or like tell me, show it, the rule is if it is an affirmative command, meaning you're saying do it, the pronoun is attached at the end. You may need to put an accent mark when you attach stuff to the end, as long as the verb is more than one syllable. If it's just one syllable, it doesn't matter. If it's a negative command, you just put it up front. So levántense, no se levanten. This one's a little bit different because it's decir, which in the affirmative is one of those irregulars, di, but in the negative is digas. So the rule for pronouns is if it's affirmative, it's attached. If it's negative, it goes up front. Here they talk about if you have a, what is this? This is a nosotros command with a reflexive verb. You would drop the S. This should be sentémonos, demos, demoselo. It drops the S. You're not going to see that a lot. Attention, this talks about what to do with pronouns, what to do with accents. If it has one syllable and you add a pronoun, you don't have to put an accent on it until you start adding multiple ones. So you can see like where the accents start to come into play. This isn't a command. This is if you put que in front of it. If I said, for example, que lo haga ella, it's kind of like saying, let her do it. May she do it. Que pase el siguiente. May the next person pass. Let the next person pass. That's not really a command because you're not looking at them and saying, hey, pass. And here's the same idea. But for the most part, I would look at this slide and this slide. These three slides are really the bulk of it. But the short answer is you can only command people you're talking to. Most commands, except for the weird familiar to commands. Affirmative to commands are where it gets weird. All the rest are in the subjunctive. I hope that helps. Be sure to like, comment, smash that like button, click that bell for notifications, and I'm open to making other requests. So, see ya.